The fun voice. All right. So thanks so much guys for joining us today. So it's me, Beth from VTNE Prep, and I'm so lucky today to have some awesome guests with us from Not One More Vet support staff. So today we have with us Tasha Zimmerman, who's a CVT, Carla Fernandez, who's an RVT, and then Kelly Drescher Johnson, who is a CTP. So today we're gonna have them kind of discuss a bunch of different things about Not One More Vet support staff. And then also I'll ask them a bunch of different questions, and then I'll open it up to you guys too about asking a bunch of different questions as well. So I'll just kind of do a roundtable at first and have you guys introduce yourselves. So I'll start with Kelly, since you're at my top of my screen. So please feel free to introduce yourselves. Tell me something, or tell me a bunch about you. I know you've been all over the place in this field and then other fields too. So share a bit about yourself.
Thank you. So the first thing I want to do with everybody is a relaxation technique. What we want to do is stimulate the vagus nerve. And it's not like, yeah, vagus baby. It's the really long nerve in your body. It controls the parasympathetic nervous system. So one thing you can do is like you're blowing through a trumpet, and take a deep breath in. You're going to puff out the cheeks and blow the air out through a very small hole. It's going to look like this. You're going to make elephant noise. It's okay. But I'm going to do it twice with you. I'm going to just trust that everybody's watching this is doing this. So
we have to do this too.
Yep.
We're going to do it again. What this does is we breathe in faster than we're exhaling, and it slows everything down. Parasympathetic, remember it, P for peace, it brings you peace. Sympathetic nervous system, S for stress. So we want to reduce the stress and get into the peace area. Stimulating the vagus nerve just brings everything right down, which is always a good thing before a test. So I just wanted to bring us into this space, help me settle into this space as well, because I'm so excited to be with all of you. I am really in my third career of life, and CTP for me stands for Certified Trauma Professional. I also am trained as a chaplain, and I work as a grief care counselor / chaplain within my hospital, which is a really new field within vet med, one that's starting to grow. Everything I've learned along the way, from my first career as a music teacher to my middle career of I don't know what I'm doing in life, to this, has all informed me along the way of interacting with people, the different walks of life that people come from.
Great. I never thought of parasympathetic and sympathetic that way, with peace and stress. And so now I am going to totally use that with my VTNE prep people. So thank you so much for teaching me that. I always have to be like fight or flight and rest and digest. So you just taught me some easy way of remembering that. So thank you so much. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I love that. Why didn't I ever think of that? It was so perfect. Awesome. And I'm so glad to have you here today. There's not many people out there that are certified trauma professionals. We have so many more that are certified compassion fatigue professionals coming out now. And I think that you're like one of my few that I've met so far in the veterinary field. So this is fantastic to be able to have you here to be able to talk. So this is really great. So thank you. Carla, let's hear a bit about you.
So I'm a career veterinary technician. I've been doing this for almost 18 years. And actually recently, just NOMVSS has presented itself as my life's goal. I was told as a technician that my soft skills were always better than my tech skills, but I tried to change that, and tech skills have been really useful in my career, but my soft skills have been something that I've wanted to just impress on our field here on out. Being as an older technician, I just want to give that support to our younger, to members of the community, our field. So yeah, that's pretty much my goal here.
Great, fantastic. So tell me a little bit about just kind of your past. Obviously, 18 years has been a really long time in the field since, our, yeah, we're not usually in very long. So,
so I started as working with sea lions and seals. So I started with large animals and then moved on to dogs and cats. And after that, working in general practice, getting my, just the basics, going to school, and then actually going into specialty. I spent almost 11 years as an oncology and internal medicine technician. So cancer in animals and helping people through that battle became one of my biggest goals in my career. Getting people not only through having to put their pet through chemotherapy, going through basically the struggle of getting ready to lose their pet and how, and everything that goes with it. And also just being someone who provided education about what not to do with your pet when this happens. And just trying to be a liaison between the doctors, the pet parent, and the pet, and our whole, field. A lot of parents come in and they don't understand, and I think we're, other than like the CSRs and us, we're the first people that they see and actually put their hands out. So in oncology, that was my biggest goal, was to actually be that technician where someone could come and say, I don't know what I'm doing.
yeah,
I can give you an estimate for 10 grand, but I still don't know why I'm doing this. So
yeah, absolutely. Oncology is it requires a very special, empathetic human being to be in that department. And I was so lucky to work in that department before I went into education for some time. And I thought I was this really hot shot critical care technician who had been in critical care for 10 plus years. And then they said, why don't you work in oncology? Because you're, really skilled. And I kind of met my goals in ER. I was a brand new technician in that department, super green. And I loved it. Just as you explained, just being there to be that support. And it is very much that liaison aspect. And those owners, need you in those moments. So very, very well described. So yeah. What a successful career that you've had and you continue to do. So that's fantastic. I love it. Tasha,
Hi.
let's hear from you and your fun career that you've had so far.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I'm Tasha Zimmerman. I have been in the field as long as Carla, so 18 years. I graduated from school in 2002 is what I was going to say. It's my second career. My first career was I worked in the restaurant hospitality business and catering. The customer service aspect of my career came from that. And my story is a little bit different. I did not play with animals when I was growing up. I did not want to work I did not know. I wanted to be a detective. SVU. Yay. And I was driving down, I tell people the story. I was driving down the street and I saw a vet tech wanted sign, old school, where you had to put the letters in. And I passed by it every single day going to work. And I was like, what's a vet tech? Just like people still do. And I went home and I dialed up my AOL and I looked up what is a vet tech, and it hit me like a light bulb. I I had gone to Auburn at undergrad. I needed to pay them off to get my transcripts. And I applied to St. Pete College, left my family, moved down to St. Pete and did that and ended up in specialty medicine. So just like you guys, I worked internal medicine for the first half of my career. And that doctor also did oncology and cardiology, and his wife was the dermatologist. So I got to do everything. And then I had a little, I call it a fender bender in between my career. So, you know, in a plane accident. So I tried to take some time off, and then I decided to continue my career in New York City, and I worked in neurology for the next 5. Being a little bit older, you know, we all think we're Wonder Women and Wonder Men. We try to do everything ourselves, pick up 60-pound dogs ourselves. Had a couple accidents where I needed hip surgery and neck surgery. So I decided to move on into another part of the profession, which is recruiting, it's my jam because I love building relationships with people, which is what I loved about technician. Besides the skills, same as Carla, the soft skills, talking to people. I love talking to clients. The Southern accent helped me in New York. You know, it was really good, and I miss that. And my heart is with veterinary medicine. I miss the floor, but I don't miss certain aspects of it, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But I have been in recruiting 6 years now. And it's rewarding. It's also challenging, which, you know, keeps me in my game. But, you know, it also helps me be able to help start, you know, NOMVSS. So,
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I love that you use your Southern accent in the North. We all love the Southern accent. So
I feel like it's going away, but some people say, no, it's not.
No, it's definitely not. I'm sure it comes out more when you're tired too and stuff like that. So no, that's fantastic. And you know, I think too, we're definitely really strong people in the veterinary field. So the fact that you came back really strong after this huge accident too is fabulous. That we have so many different options within our career to find something that's going to fit really well, even when, you know, we think that maybe our career might be over due to something that happens, that, you know, we still might be able to find something that's going to fit our needs of what may happen. So
absolutely.
Which I know that probably many people have gone through. I know even within my lifetime, I've had to kind of change up due to certain things that have happened as well. So that's really awesome. And now you found something that really clicks even just as well too, if not even better. So
yeah, I mean, I wish I could produce more doctors and technicians for all of our hospitals, and
yeah,
it is what it is. So
exactly.
I know.
Yeah. I think of you actually, because I hear a lot from some practices are like, I need a doctor, I need that. And I was like, Tasha, where do you get any? You're in that recruiting aspect, and maybe you find things. I don't know.
I gave 4 offers today, so we'll see.
Woo! See? Yeah, so maybe you're finding them in random spots of the world. So no, that's great. But
I mean, they apply
awesome.
just like everybody else, but
yeah,
I don't know what that's a whole nother webinar and topic, but
oh, sure, absolutely. Awesome. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be kind of a fun talk, I think, and just kind of opening up about now I'm our vet sports staff, how it kind of started, which is, I think, just, you know, for some of us, we got, you know, a little bit of a scoop since we've been around for a while, but some of the newer people may not have known, but obviously of culture in general too, just kind of getting your guys's ideas as well is going to be kind of fun. So I'll kind of kick it off. Carla, just kind of jumping in with you, you're my first person to ask, but can you kind of explain what really Not One More Vet is, and then like how it was initiated as well, And then obviously there's a difference between Not One More Vet and then Not One More Vet support staff. Can you kind of go through some of those things as well?
Yeah. So Not One More Vet is, well, it's a 501 C3 company now. I'll go back to how it started. But it's focused on the well-being, mental health, and basically crisis intervention in this profession. So the way it started is back in 2014. I'm not sure if everybody is aware, like I'm sure we've heard this many times, is that Dr. Nicole MacArthur created this Facebook group, basically NOMV, Not One More Vet, when Dr. Sophia Yin unfortunately passed away due to suicide. That's when the floodgates opened, and a lot of us, including technicians, veterinarians, everybody in this field, kind of started opening up and seeing how veterinary professionals were actually struggling around the world, not just here in the States, but everywhere. So Dr. MacArthur decided we need a place to actually be able to talk about this, a place where people, veterinarians in the beginning, could say, hey, you know what, this is how I feel right now. They didn't have to hold all these feelings in and, you know, basically feel isolated, alienated, and struggling by themselves. So now in 2017, that's when it actually became a 501 C3 charity, allowing us to, or NOMV, to just expand, continue expanding, not only being a charity, but providing wellness education, financial support for veterinarians, and I'll go into the support staff as well. So you asked about the difference between NOMV and then NOMVSS, as I call it. It's easier for me to like that. Yeah. So NOMV is, you can call it the mother there. So that's Not One More Vet. We have Not One More Vet support staff to basically now address the fact that us as a support staff, techs, CSRs, kennel attendants, assistants, go through the same in the sense of struggling, being isolated, being alienated, and also within our own peers. We feel that way. So we created, you know, Tasha and many of us as well created this place where, with the help of Not One More Vet, as far as the president and other veterinarians, guiding us to create this space where support staff can actually come and talk about the things that make them feel isolated, alienated, you know, the struggles, all the things that we're actually going to talk later in this, you know, webinar as well. But a space where you can actually feel supported. You know, you can have a bad day, you don't feel like talking about it with your family, you can go in this group and talk about it. Share what you feel. You're going to have at least 50, 60, you know, comments either supporting you or advising or guiding, but all just to feel less alone, to feel like you're actually, it's okay, that you don't have to struggle by yourself with this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's absolutely grown a ton, you know, since 2014 to now, with both, you know, like you said, the mother to, you know, now both essentially. Yeah. And it's been just truly amazing to watch it all and be a part of it. And so I'm so glad to be able to be here to, you know, see, I say, our generation of people. Yeah. And then really try to introduce a lot of this to the next generation to come in and really start them off right away with this, so that they have that support right away. And because they're going to have bad days, like you said, every, you know, even the little things to just say, hey, you know, even I had a hard time placing catheters today, like that sucked. Yeah, like it does suck, you know, but it doesn't mean you're a really sucky technician, you know, stuff like that. So I just love what you guys do. So I'm so glad that you guys are here to talk about it. So thank you so much to explain all of that for us. So So Tasha, I know that you were one of the, I'll say, OGs for the support staff. So how did you decide to really get involved with Not Vet support staff?
It's a great question. The honest answer is I had time. Because that's like everybody says I don't have time. I was working in recruiting. I was laid off in 2019, and I had about 8 weeks to figure out what I was going to do. And at that time, there was some rumblings about, what about us? What about vet techs? We're killing, we're killing ourselves too. And most people don't realize, but like male technicians are 5 times higher to commit suicide in the general population.
Yeah.
And female vets is 2.4, male vets is 1.6, and female technicians 2.3. We're all right there.
Mhm.
So the what about us was like, we're doing the same thing, but yet our struggles aren't, there's similarities with veterinarians and there's not similarities. I can't imagine being $300,000 in debt, making $75,000 a year,
Yeah.
Versus I was $15,000 in debt, making $11. It's the same in my brain, but it's really not. So, but anyway, it came to, I'm really good friends with Carrie, with Dr. Journey, who's the president of NOMVSS and who helped started, with Dr. MacArthur. And I just came to her and I said, what can we do? And so many people have said, we want to do it, but no one has the time. It's a commitment. It's free. We're all volunteers. So I was like, I'll do it. I have time. So literally it kind of just blew up. We asked for volunteers, and we basically, there was a couple of us at the time that said, who do you think would be great for this? And that was Carla. I think in the beginning we had like 23 volunteers. It was a lot.
Yeah.
We had everybody do QPR training. We kind of just on the fly started this group. What is it, like September 2019, October. I want to say the first week it was 1,000 people. It was crazy. It just blew up. We shared it with everybody. And our goal was to follow the same guidelines as NOMVSS. We made rules, which we've had to use often. Scroll by if you don't have anything nice to say. And, we're all human. We kind of miss some things here and there, but, the main goal was to support each other. And I personally had a doctor that committed suicide. So I just wanted to be involved somehow and make a difference. And if I personally in the group can save one life, then I've done my job. Yeah. I've done what I came here to do, and I don't plan on going anywhere. But what's great about this group is we have people come and go. We all have issues. And if you need to go away for a little bit, you come back, it's great. And a lot of people have done that. I will say, probably since we had decided to put this group together, Carla's on the board now. So that's huge. She's the first technician on Not One More Vet board, which is a huge deal. And we have some other different career-minded people that are joining the board, and so it's really cool. But I want people to have a place that they can talk and support one another. And it's so hard, the peer-to-peer support, and we want you to be heard. And we have so many features that I think anonymous is used a lot, which is we can talk about at some point. But yeah, it's just great to be there for each other and to be able to, for those of us that have been doing this quite a while, to jump in and support one another. And there's the occasional stuff, but our group is not, there's going to be some venting, and it's not what it's there for, but we do offer, some personalized, and we're not therapists, care for some of these people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And the anonymous feature, and I'll kind of go a little bit off rail here since you mentioned it. The anonymous feature came about pretty quickly, I think, too, due to essentially just the need of it, I think, as well, because I was one of your first members, I'll say. Yeah, but I thought, I thought, this is something that's really important. And I tell many people too, like, be a member and be someone who's, active, because you can lend that support, because you never know when you're going to need that support. Right. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, we can all relate to a lot of the things that are happening in this field. And so just kind of being mindful of what's going on and try to lend the support where you can.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's just such a good page to be able to try to help a person out. And just like you said, if you can just save a life, save someone, you know, make someone's day, it's really, you've done a good job, you know. So I think that's really,
Absolutely.
really
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And I commend these guys for, I mean, this is all volunteer. So
Yeah,
nobody gets paid to do this. And, I know I have some people I talk to outside of the page that have come to me for help. And, it just makes you feel good. Like, we're servant
absolutely.
leaders or we wouldn't be in these roles. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Kelly, I'll go off the rails and I'll put you a little bit on the spot to talk about the anonymous feature that you guys have. Look, you have a visitor. I
Yes.
love it.
We are all being inundated with our own pets right now.
Yes, I love it.
They are the volunteers of the volunteers,
Yes.
the unsung heroes. Thank you, Daisy.
So talk about the anonymous feature that you guys do have, and what that entails for the people that don't know, on the group page.
So what it entails is starting off sending us a message on the anonymous page, and we have somebody dedicated each and every day to reading those messages, contacting you, asking clarifying questions to narrow down the focus. The more narrow the focus, and the more clear of the support that you're looking for. Advice. I just want a sounding board. Has anyone experienced this? The better the response tends to be. A lot of us have made the commitment that if we happen to know you personally, we will pass you off to somebody else to maintain that anonymity. I've had it happen before. It's somebody I know through, various circles, and I see their name and I'll post to our moderating team, look, I know this person, can somebody else handle it? That way I'm not reading somebody I know what's going on in their personal life. It really maintains anonymity. And I want to put that out there for anybody who's concerned. Like, I know somebody who's on that moderating team. We will pass you to somebody who doesn't know you. You are truly safe in that space. This is a great space where if you are truly struggling, we are going to make sure that you get to the support you need. It is not a 24/7 staffed thing. We are not a hotline. We are more like a warm line. If things are brewing, we will help with the intervention, but we are not crisis moment. And I do want to keep that in mind as well. We are not a last resort. We are the facilitator to the next level of care. Because as Tasha was saying, we're not all trained for that level of care, but we do have the QPR. QPR is question, persuade, and refer. We're going to create a safe space for you to say the unspeakable truth in your life. You have a place to talk about that, to feel safe, to feel heard. And in many places, we can't talk about that. It's the space in which we talk about this client just screamed at me for 20 minutes and I lost my cool and now I'm afraid of losing my job. Or we try to persuade this client to surrender a pet to us and they went through with the euthanasia and now I don't know what to do when I go back into that room. The unspeakable things that you just can't tell others, or you don't want to show vulnerability, or even the people in your life, family, friends outside of vet med who don't understand how much this weighs on you.
Yeah. No,
So there is some personalized support in there to the best of our ability, but it's really about narrowing down the focus of your question, how you want to receive that love back, and then setting it free into the group to surround you with love.
awesome. Yeah, I think that is really great. And I love the fact that you explained, that it's you're gonna kind of pass things off as needed, so that it really does stay anonymous to everyone, that they, whoever wants it to be anonymous for them. So that's perfect. Great. So Carla, I'll come back to you actually. And we'll talk a little bit about just the dynamics of kind of culture within practices. So we'll kind of open up that discussion a little bit, which I know that's something Tasha mentioned when I initially talked to everyone. Well, maybe I'll bring it up with Tasha first, and then I'll come to you, because she started that. Go. So yeah, I'll start with Tasha actually. So Tasha, you brought up experiences in the veterinary profession with toxic culture, and so not only do we have things that we may deal with, on the level of clients that may come in or hard cases that we see, but obviously we've had issues with toxic culture, stuff like that, or just how that has been maybe just an issue over the last decades. And this has been something that's really kind of opened up as well over the last several years. So how do we all just kind of, how does that play a role just mentally and physically on people? And then what do you think is going to be kind of the what's going to break the cycle, or what is that going to take to break the cycle on it?
I mean, they're all good questions. I think toxic, I mean, we all have a definition of what that means, and we all have been through different kinds of toxicity in the field. I think for me, it comes from specialty was, and I've never worked in general practice, but specialty was a whole, no one warned us, which is why we're here talking to you. The cliques was horrible. And you want to fit in. So you end up being in that environment where you may be the person bullying others and you don't realize it. But, being around that was really eye-opening once I figured it out that, oh my gosh, I'm not the person that I'm not supposed to be doing this. But you end up doing it because you want to fit in, right? You're the new person and all that kind of thing. And then the whole bullying, the whole, or what's the word I'm trying to use? There's so many people out there who think they're better than everybody else because they've been doing it longer.
Yeah.
And I'm a 30-year-old coming into the field, and I'm like a little baby. I'm a baby tech. I'm a green tech, and I'm just like watching everybody, and it's just yelling. And it's throwing, and it's not eating lunch. It's sitting on the ground, stuffing your face with something. And I'm like, what did I do? What did I do? But I went to school to do this, and I wanted to keep going. And it got better within certain groups, but it still was, I would never throw anybody under the bus that I have worked with or worked under, but we've got to do better, just period, through every aspect of veterinary medicine. But I will say this, veterinary medicine does not make me mental. I already have the mental disease when I came into veterinary medicine, and there's triggers that have happened that have made it worse. So have I had a breakdown? Absolutely. Have I had panic attacks? Absolutely. And I'm very vulnerable, and I talk about it. I'm on medication, and it stems from being in an environment in New York City that was like this little Southern girl from Alabama put herself in and was not ready for. But I don't, the break the cycle, I wish, I feel like I should have stood up for myself more, demanded breaks, demanded that I took lunch. You can take my time or whatever. There's just little bitty things that where we can have self-care moments within the practice that we're at, and we have to do better. I mean, the way that it was, there's still places that's the way it is, and I'm hoping that this new generation comes in and says we can't do that anymore. You will treat each other with respect. You will be kind to one another. We will fire clients that belittle you. We will put you before them. I mean, I could go on and on. This could be like a 4-hour conversation, but I think it's a little bit of maturity coming into the field. And having gone through like catering, you didn't do a wedding right for, oh my God, so I don't know. And I've always wanted, and I've learned you learn how to BS with people, the right things to say, the wrong things to say, but I'm never going to kiss your, what to get to where I'm going. So, it's an interesting culture is so big, and taking care of one another is the best thing I can think of. And you can't eat your own. We had this discussion earlier. We had something going on in the group, and I'm like, we got to quit eating our own.
Exactly.
Like, stop. Someone wants to take a mental health day. It's their right to do that. That's why we have them. And it happens. If I have a bad day and I come home crying and I don't want to go to work tomorrow, I'm going to feel guilty enough because that's what we do. But, it's just, we just got to stop.
And you should congratulate them for doing that, because they're going to come back stronger. You're going to come back stronger. That's great. I don't know. Yeah. I will say, as a good example to not taking breaks and whatever, I was a baby technician. So this came to mind when you were saying I was taking breaks, working. In specialty medicine, you want to fit in. So like for me, I was in emergency, and I would work so much overtime that I would work 4 hours past my shift all the time. And so it would be a 16-hour shift. And when I would say like, okay, I'm going to go now because I'm ready to fall asleep. And I was probably like 18, 19 years old. And I had to be back the next morning. So by this time I have to be back in like 8 hours or something. They would look at me and be like, I guess, fine. And it's like, makes you feel guilty, and granted, yes, they're busy. It's an ER or whatever, but rather than that gratitude of like, thank you so much for staying late or whatever, but there was like that expected thing where you should be staying late, which is 4 hours past your shift, but, and I never got a break in that 16 amount hour time, like no lunch. I was working constantly. So, and we looked down on the people who would take a break or left on time. And you're right, like that was totally me too. And I'd be, I ended up marrying my husband, who's not a technician or in the field anymore. He's a teacher and works specific hours because he's like, nope, I'm not going in the field. But he would leave on time. He would take his break, and I'd be like, how dare you? But that you're right. We absolutely should be able to do that. And I think you're right. Everyone needs to take care of each other and show each other empathy. So that's the big key word. So
yeah, I think we've all eaten in places we probably shouldn't have. And that's like a joke for me. And if anybody's watching this understands that, but
yeah,
it's it's not okay. And we've all done it. I had one friend who played soccer, and she was like, I got to leave 6 o'clock on Wednesdays. And I'm like, good for her. Cause she didn't have kids, and she was tired of staying late because moms had to leave. And, and it's the whole single, and we've all been there.
Yeah.
You'll stay late because you don't have anything to go home to. And you're like, okay, yeah, you feel guilty. But I don't know about Carla, but and if you as well, but I was on call. Yeah. So I worked a 24-hour shift once. I should never be put in that position. Veterinary medicine doctors, that interns, they should never be put in that position. I'm sorry. We did 4 back surgeries, and anesthesia, third one in.
Yeah. Like how well are you taking care of that patient? Right.
There should be a backup to the backup. But my point being is, it's the same thing. Like you get called in, you have to be back. Yeah. And it's just being taken advantage of, and it shouldn't be that way. And it's not, there's a meme going around this past week or 2 weeks ago. Like, it's not your fault that there's not enough people there. You're there, but it's not your fault. So, but we're always going to feel guilty. That's what we do. But
And to
That's
that,
like,
take care of yourself first. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great to take care of your team members. I have a wonderful CSR team that I work on. We have ordered like large Grubhub orders, and we all pool together to consolidate the resource. We are getting our own meals in case I work with anybody. We're COVID safe.
I love it.
But we order together. And so there's that feeling of this shared meal, or we each take turns bringing in treats. We care for each other, but you need to take care of yourself first. I see so much guilt on the page, and it breaks my heart. Go to therapy. This field just somehow draws in a lot of people who have deep empathy from a very serious wound. A lot of us have behavioral health issues. It is not a flaw. It is not a flaw. It is not a flaw. It can be your greatest asset to have that level of empathy. But don't feel bad about going to therapy and learning more about who you are, what makes you tick. Being an anchor for yourself is the greatest gift you can give yourself.
So since you bring that up, what are some of the resources and stuff that you guys provide from Not One More Vet support staff, just to get people kind of going for counseling, therapy, that kind of stuff as well, just for people who don't really know where to start?
I'm going to turn it over to these two.
Okay.
They know the resources in and out.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
we'll go to Carla since I spoke already about culture.
Well, I do want to say that I agree with Tasha 100%. I feel like our experiences kind of mirror each other, and actually it makes me a bit sad to know that. And I can go on a lot about what technicians go through as far as specialty too, and just in general. Are you talking about what we offer, or how does it happen? Is that what you're asking, Beth?
I guess either or. Do you guys have resources? I believe you guys have some, like some,
we do.
Yeah.
The time you can start with like how Kelly described AP magnificently, and it starts with someone reaching out, and then they'll reach out onto the group anonymously, and then you kind of see someone reaching back and saying, I need more than this. I need more, and this is great. Getting all the commentary, the guidance, and sometimes even the members will share where to reach out. We do have resources like where we have a partnership with BetterHelp, where a member from NOMV or NOMVSS can go and start with 30 days of free care or service. And getting them just started on that whole wheel of realizing, not just realizing, but basically being given that support. Like, it's okay. You're reaching out for help. We're here. Let's hold your hand and get you what you need. So BetterHelp is one of the resources that we start with, as far as like, other than having that large peer support and getting people to kind of just say, you know what, I actually need more than this. So a lot of people start there.
Great. Yeah, no, that is fantastic.
Yeah, I'll add some, I don't know, I think NOMV is going through a new website stuff, but the peer-to-peer support is the biggest thing, because somebody in that group has gone through what you are going through and can offer the support, which is exactly what the group is there for. We do have the crisis hotlines everywhere. Yes. We do have grants. So that's, people ask about what are they raising money for? We have, I don't know how many apply for the grants each week, but I know people reach out to me and go, I applied for a grant yesterday. Do you know how long it takes? And people just, anything. It can be for your house caught on fire, and I hate to go that deep, but it's happened. Your house is caught on fire and you don't have any clothes, or you don't, and you can apply for a grant to get money to get clothes, or, gift certificates or whatever. you are homeless and you need help, like, or you're about to be homeless, they have granted money for that. I believe it's 1 grant per year. There might be special circumstances, but we've helped a lot of people.
That's really awesome.
And it's little things like that, because that's what they're stressed out about.
Yeah.
Vet care. That's again, that could be a whole nother webinar, but our discounts in vet care are terrible. And people, but we also have 10 animals and vet care is expensive. So, be able to help with that, or a surgery or foreign body. I think someone applied for a foreign body, just little stuff. So, that in itself for financial is really cool to be able to do that. Yeah. And I commend them for coming up with that, because that's brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's really fantastic. I mean, it's amazing how the things that you guys can help just kind of take at least some of the pressure off of someone can really be also life-saving in that regard as well. So that's really, really great.
And again, like Kelly said, Kelly's Kelly's newer to our volunteer group, and she has done an amazing job. And to have a trauma professional, I mean, it's huge. Mm-hmm. And one of I forgot what I was going to say. I forgot. I'll come back to it. I just lost my train of thought. There was a reason I was mentioning her, and then.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
I'll mention one more resource. Yeah. There's also the educational program too. So NOMVSS will have events, webinars, conferences. We'll talk about, you're basically providing peer support through there too. So you have all these speakers, whether it be doctors or technicians or what have you, going out and just spreading the word about what NOMVSS is, or depending on what topic they're talking about. So that's another resource too that you have that's offered to our members. You'll have webinars too, where maybe Dr. Carrie Journey's going to come out and talk about self-care. How can you guys do in self-care?
Great.
And these are things that we might not think about when we're in between missing lunch and 6 surgeries in one day.
Yeah. I remembered what I was going to say now.
Yes.
The going back to that, we're not therapists, which is, it's true, but some of us have relationships with people outside that have reached out to us in the beginning. And we've been very lucky in our group with that we know of, that we've hopefully been able to save a life or 2, but haven't had to go where we have to do wellness checks. And, NOMVSS, they do that, and we would do that too. So we have those kinds of things in place, and we're actually putting some training together where we're going to have trigger words now. So if you're moderating and someone writes struggling, then that we're all going to get a ding. It says someone used the word struggling. So we'll watch that a little bit more closely. But
awesome.
Reiterate that, again, we're not a hotline. We do go above and beyond for a lot of our members, because we care.
Yeah.
And we've probably been there. But at the end of the day, we're going to do what we need to do to make sure that you're okay. And if that means making phone calls and calling to have people check on you, then that's what we're going to do. So,
yeah.
And we practice what we preach amongst each other.
We talk to each other. Yeah. We talk to each other.
We support each other so that we can support out. So I want you to know we are doing all that work that we're sharing with you. We're doing amongst ourselves as well
as BetterHelp.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, because you guys aren't immune to any of this. None of us are by any means. So that's important to note. Absolutely. So I'll note a little bit, since I know, Tasha, you brought up the certified trauma professional, because I will give you a high five to my certified trauma professional person over there. I think it's super cool. I love it. And I went a little crazy with my certification. So I have, my compassion fatigue and trauma professional, and then I have my traumatologist too. So I can go travel and try to save the world, which can't, because it's COVID. So, COVID wins, guys. But we do the best we can. So tell me a little bit about, or tell everyone a little bit about your certified trauma professional, how you went about doing it, and then a little bit about the training in case anyone is interested in doing that type of certification.
So I did it through ITTI, and they do a whole lot of trauma trainings. So certified compassion is there, certified trauma professional, lots and lots of things are on there. They're relatively reasonably priced. I say that compared to a lot of other ones that I've looked at, they're comparable. It's online, it's modules that you can start and stop if your cat's walking across your computer or your dog is pawing you for a meal. And then there's an additional fee to get the certification at the end. I think I spent about $300 for mine, and it's good for 1 year, and then I have to re-up it and continue just like anybody else's certification. So that's how I decided to do mine. And it's an addition on to my other degree, which is a Master of Divinity, and my training as a chaplain. So I'm doing all of these things together.
Fantastic. So, how did you, so what are some of the things that you really focus on in that you kind of use in your day-to-day thing? I know that one of the things as you did in the beginning with us, which I really like about the trauma professional, the certified trauma professional, is that you actually get to learn some of those types of techniques. But what are some things that you kind of utilize when you're, I know, talking to clients and stuff like that, that you learned?
For the most part, it's a lot about learning about yourself before you help others.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are my own triggers? What is going to get my blood boiling? Is it, I already know how to do this, and it's the 5th time the supervisor has explained to me like I'm an idiot. Okay, so why is that bothering me? What is that bringing up? It's probably not about them. It's about something else. It's also client facing. Why is this client freaking out in front of me? And how can I interrupt what's currently happening? So ER is probably the best one to talk about in that case. Someone's coming in with a code, they're freaking out about their pet, they don't know what's going on. We're asking them to make decisions now about what needs to happen. Whenever possible, deep breath. I know we can't do it in COVID, but I would put my hand on their elbow or their shoulder and say, I got you. I got you. Just look at me. We got this. Deep breath. Okay, here's what's happening. We can't do it over, we can't do it in person now, but you can still do it over the phone. I got you. I got you. It's the interruption of that sympathetic nervous system. And to know what activates it, what gets the parasympathetic engaged, all the difference. I work with some wonderful technicians who do that automatically. They somehow have absorbed that information, but to go forward and get it for yourself and then be able to teach others, there's a ripple effect in that. It's what makes us empathetic to what's happening with other people. We don't know the backstory. Nobody in this room knows the previous 40 years of my life. So you have no idea why calling me Missy will just shut me down. We will not be able to talk. You probably meant it as like a cute little name of endearment. It's a lot of that, just being sensitive to the conversation, what's happening between us, how's the communication going?
Yeah. I absolutely 100% agree with that. And I say that all the time. We only know this much of someone's life and then, know nothing else. So it's totally having to give them the benefit of the doubt on a lot and having to be empathetic to, everything that we don't know. And so that was perfectly said of, really just trying to just be empathetic. And I love how you described, just saying like, I have you on this. And it's crazy that we we don't teach enough empathy in school. It's a lot about like, here's the stuff in the book, because you have to know all of this for the VTNE, and then here you go. And people go, you have to teach empathy? And I'm like, yes, because people are not born knowing exactly how to have empathy. Yes, there are some that, you know, are very talented and know how to be empathetic. But we have to practice. We have to practice being empathetic.
I lead support groups for people who have lost their pets, and, you know, having a good heart and a well-meaning disposition is great, but there is so much that we can do to injure a person from the inside out with the best of intentions. And if you are looking to, you know, do something in this field of this caring compassion, whether it's with Not One More Vet support staff or starting to lead your own support groups, learning about the power you have with your words is critical to making that happen.
Yeah.
My biggest example was, we had a woman who had to put her pet down. And as I was walking her back to her car, she found out that one of her friends committed suicide right after losing her pet. And sitting with her in a bathroom, holding her hair back while she vomited, and trying to ground her into that space so that someone else could come and get her. I mean, nobody trains you for that moment.
Yeah.
And it will happen. I mean, maybe not to that extreme, but somebody is going to have just an absolute break from the reality that they've known, and they're going to turn to you to help ground them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it turns into that secondary trauma onto you. And that's what you go home with, right? So,
and that's when you come onto our Facebook page and you let us know what happened, and we all surround you and support you.
Exactly. And that is 100% acceptable and welcome. And so that's what you guys are completely there for. So, yes. And that's what makes it so difficult in our field. But yeah. I can't believe that happened. That's so horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
I know, where do you go after that?
I know, right?
I know.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, so Carla, now I'll go to you about on the job trained technicians, assistants, we'll say. And so we started talking about culture, whether it was a toxic culture effect, and how that worked. And I was going to follow up with you on, there's a, you know, with the Veterinary Nurse Initiative. And obviously we've had on the job trained technicians for quite a long time. And then credentialed technicians. And now with having credentialed technicians more and more, with having on the job trained and then credentialed technicians, do you feel or in general, not just you, but do you feel that there's this competitive nature that's going on, that there's, you know, that could be somewhat of this culture issue per se, or what could be some recommendations in the future for kind of how we handle this situation type of thing? Have you encountered any of these issues? I mean, you don't have to go into great detail, that kind of thing, but, you know, I know that this is something that is going to be kind of a future type of thing with becoming more and more credentialing as well. So yeah.
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is
I know, I like really put you on the spot. So
everybody jump in when you want to. This is a I think this is a community topic. Yeah. This is a tough topic for our field, actually for any field, I think, with healthcare, honestly. But with us, you do have and this topic comes up, correct me if I'm wrong, Tasha, at least once every 2 weeks, or twice a month, something
it probably
like that.
does, yeah.
And
It's a lot less than I thought it would be, but we'd shut it down anyway.
yeah, so most of the time it gets shut down. And as far as going on the job, assistants, credentialed technicians, I'm going to say that personally, I have been fortunate, and I have not experienced that kind of treatment, negative treatment, or bullying in that sense.
Very good.
Now, I've seen it, I've heard of it, I've read of it. It does exist. I think it's not about pointing fingers as far as like, oh, well, the on-the-job technician or assistant or credentialed technician is bullying the other one. I think it's a lot of, unfortunately, or has been misguided intent. I think you have someone that's been on the job, for example, say 10 years, and you have this new credentialed technician come in, they're fresh out of school, and their excitement for this field, they've been studying for what, 2 years plus now. Their excitement for it is like, I want to do everything. I want to do everything possible, everything I've been taught. So they walk into, especially a specialty practice, they'll walk in and say, I want to do this. But you have this on the job technician who's amazing, who doctors think that she's great or he is great. And they see this other person, they come in, and it's not necessarily competitiveness, but it's more this whole fear, this more of like displacement, this feeling of vulnerability or non-assurance of who they are anymore.
Yeah.
So we say competitiveness because it looks like people are just attacking each other, because that's how it looks.
Mhm.
And that's how the culture's been. And like I said, I haven't experienced it, but I've seen it. And you see people and you say, well, she's bullying him and he's bullying her. And well, she's upset because she can't put in a central line like that other person did. And the thing is, when I say misguided intent, is that most people, and anybody jump in, is that we don't do anything to change the culture or ease those fears. We don't set up a culture of comfort where anybody or openness can say, hey, you know what? I'm new. I'm a baby tech, but yeah, I've got this credential. But I don't know how to put in a central line. You've got this on the job technician or assistant who's put in at least 55, right? How do we make this person feel safe in asking this other person, hey, can you teach me? So you're building that other person up, and you're basically making that baby technician feel empowered because they're looking for that guidance. They're looking for that, feeling of being taught, and actually then also supporting the on-the-job technician or on-the-job trained technician to basically feel empowered because they can teach what they know. It's not
Exactly.
just about holding everything in and doing the whole I'm the best. That's not how teams work.
Right.
So you see
Right.
these cultures where the teams fall apart because nobody wants to talk to each other. Nobody wants to work together.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you don't have anybody who really wants to work together.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
I'll say this happens with the CSRs too. I mean,
Yeah.
walking into as a CSR in an ER is daunting. You've got your specialties. Sometimes you've got your general practice. Then you've got the people who handle specific things like central billing and deliveries and the medical director and administration. You've got people coming in and people going out, and 20 lines ringing at the same time.
and then night shift and day shift.
Oh my
gosh.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh my God, goodness. I mean, 4 o'clock hits and it's full on evening shift.
Mhm.
Because the clients are totally different, the demands of what they want of you. And to go up to a brand new CSR and to say, well, I need this and this and this. And it's like, they give you that panicked, I only know how to do a checkout. Okay, great. Is there somebody who can show you this or say up front that this is critical? I need to get it done now. Can you help me find somebody else? There's an easing in that, as Carla's saying, the team needs to work together to know where to go. And if you're the person who is going up and being nice to the CSR, they're going to come and ask you questions that eventually down the road are going to make your life easier.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
hey, is this do I need to code this?
Yeah.
Oh my
right?
gosh, I
Yeah.
still have no idea what to code and what
Exactly.
not to code. And for
Yeah.
those I'm working with, I'm so sorry I hit the code button so often.
The whole point is how to make each other stronger. You have this on the job technician or credential technician. It's like, how do you build each other? I don't think, and if I will make it a personal thought here, I don't think that they should be divided. This is the question:
Right.
is who's better than the other?
Exactly. Right.
No one should come into a practice feeling that way. It's more about what do they bring in individually and how can we use it as a team? How are the doctors, the practice management, whatever level of management or healthcare in that practice is going to do, is how are you going to make these people work together to basically benefit the clients and the patients above all?
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think that's perfectly said. Especially that, yeah, it has looked as a competitive type of thing, especially, and it obviously hasn't necessarily been an issue, obviously for me. And I don't know if it's just because of when I started too in the field, because when I started, oh gosh, I think, yeah, I've been in the field now. I'm trying to think how long I've been in the field, 20 years. And so when I started in the field, there was still a lot of on the job trained compared to CBTs. So I learned a lot from just mainly on the job trained people. And so, I mean, my appreciation for on the job trained technicians is super strong because those are the people that know everything really. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of CBTs now, same thing. They know everything too, but there's still a great deal that have been on the job trained for 35 years plus or whatever as well. And I don't know how we don't lose those guys if and when we fully get it to go through where, you know, we become fully credentialed. I mean, I always encourage people to go to school and get their credentialing, you know. But I agree with you. How do we rise everyone, right? Rather than, and I think it totally is, like you said, that vulnerability, that rather they keep quiet and they feel this vulnerability on the inside rather than saying like, hey, can I learn from you? And we learn from each other somehow. Because even though that green person, they still have a lot to learn. I mean, they have a lot of debt and they have a lot of books, so they could share their books with you, right? So, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I have something to say about it. I was the green tech that came into internal medicine, but you know, it all starts with hiring and who you hire for your practice. The issue we have right now is baby boomers are still practicing. They hired their kids, they hired their kids' friends on the job train. They train them. That's great. Good for them. And it's nobody's, I can't, if that's how you learned and I decided to go to school, I can't be mad at you because that's, you know what I mean? Like, but you also need to work with someone that encourage you to go to school so we can all become a credentialed body. And that's never going to happen if we don't have everybody on board.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to call out corporate because corporate needs to, they're buying the hospitals. You have to support that. But not knowing anything. And I think I told you the story in the beginning, you know, I got a job. My doctor only wanted to hire certified vet techs. And this is in Florida where you do not have to be certified. I didn't know that. I went to school because I'm going to be doing anesthesia on pets. I need to learn the how and the why and, you know, all those other things. But, you know, I got a job at the front desk. I was a CSR. And someone in surgery said, I hope she didn't get a job at the front desk to get her foot in the door. Of course I did. But I also got a job. I needed a job. But I worked, and then that doctor saw after I took my test and had to wait the 3 months. You guys, we had to wait 3 months back in the day to get our credentials, find out if we passed or failed. And then, you know, he said, do you want to come on board? And I was the green tech. Now, luckily for me, I learned from certified vet techs, but there were people in that building that were on the job trained that could run circles around me. And I would never, ever be like, I'm better than you because I have
Right.
CBT behind my name.
Yeah.
The profession has to do better. Credentials the way to, I think it's the only way we're going to elevate the profession. But you can't be mad at the people that are still doing it, that are amazing at what they do. And
Yeah.
you can learn from them. But again, it all starts with the hiring too. Like if you're hiring people just to put bodies on the floor, you're going to have a problem when you want them all to be cohesive.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's my 2 cents.
This is not astronaut training camp. It's not going to be the 3 people who survive at the end are the ones who are going to be shot out into space. But it is like NASA in that there are hundreds of people working together to make this mission happen.
Yeah.
And whether it's the 20 people in your hospital or the 300, the connection, which is one thing I see so much in NOMV, is we're all connected in some way. And that's going to carry a long way. But this is not boot camp. I guess that was my point. This is not boot camp. We're not going to see the strongest survive.
We're not hazing each other. And
this is not Survivor. We're not putting out each other's torches. Let's light the torches.
I like that.
Light it up.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
That's good.
Absolutely. I love that.
I'm queen of analogies here. You just bring it.
I love it.
I like that.
No, but you make a great point, and it's, what saddens me is I feel like I was having these discussions about culture 15 years ago, and I'm, and you're like, here we are, and we're talking about it to save people. Because people don't realize that they're in those toxic cultures. And I don't know. Again, I feel like you should do a webinar for the students for the on the job, because they're gonna work with on the job, and to respect that space,
Yeah. No, absolutely. I know it feels like, like you said, we could talk on this for hours and hours and hours and still not and still not be able to get everything out that we could. So, but no, you guys have so much great information, honestly. It's just truly amazing. Gosh, I'm gonna go back to Carla, I think, because she has so much good stuff for me.
She does.
I know. So Carla, tell me, so how are some ways that students or even just new people can get involved with Not One More Vet and Not One More Vet support staff community? I'm gonna tee you up with one thing that happened last year that made me get involved, and I ended up losing like a bunch of weight that I was really excited about. So hopefully you guys will do that again this year, because I loved it.
We are.
Oh, good. Yeah, I loved it. So
that's probably all the secrets that I don't even know.
You're talking about Race Around the World?
Yeah.
There are, and Tasha knows too, and it's like there are tons of things that exist right now, and things in the work. First of all, you have. I'm going to share something personally right now. Just had the opportunity to work with a student from the Royal College in London, veterinary medicine, but he's actually from the Bay Area. He had no idea what NOMVSS was. And this is his 3rd year, and he's already going through his own thoughts and struggles and whatnot. And I told him about the group, and he was completely just excited and into it, and like, tell me more. And that's the whole thing. Great thing about NOMVSS and NOMVSS is that, please, you want to volunteer, come on, we'll tell you what's open. There's an application, actually. You'll be able to go to the website and apply and show your interest. Are you interested in being a moderator for the anonymous posts? Are you interested in being a committee member, one of the many committees that exist for NOMVSS? Like Tasha mentioned earlier, like support grants. It's an amazing committee, gives so much to our members, not just veterinarians, but veterinary technicians and support staff, and on. Like Kelly mentioned too, or everybody, you have something going on where you need help. Going back to the whole, I'm going to kind of tie things here as far as what can be done, can offer students and just anybody. you have a lot of technicians that don't have the money to go to a credentialed, program. They're in a lot of like financial trouble. Reach out to support grants. So being part of that group, for example, you give back. A lot of people can join the group to give back. They've benefited from NOMVSS. We have a lot of people that want to give back to all these places in the group that they can volunteer with. Being a moderator is amazing. Tasha can tell you that right there. It's like really, you got to have the time too, though. So there are a lot of places where people can volunteer for the group, but it does require the time. It does require the dedication.
I will say it's a commitment, but
Yes, thank you.
just like I said earlier, if you need to step back, like
Yeah.
it's like what we're talking about doing is like, you can only moderate so many times per month because
Yep.
we want your mental health to be okay. So if Kelly's like, I want to back up to everybody, we're going to be like, nope, sorry, you already work 5, but right now it's a sign up, first come, first serve. And I would say most of us work. I think a couple of us do anonymous posting and moderating. And then we have membership committee too, because right now it's, technicians. I think Kelly's our only CSR because she's our volunteer chaplain and certified trauma professional. So there might be some things coming, people have asked about practice managers, support staff, front desk. It's just a lot, but it is a commitment. But we also want people to know that you're not tied down. It's, if you need to walk away for a couple months, something, Wendy, who helped me like start the admin group, and then Liz came on, she had to step back for a while and now she's back, and that's okay. But yeah, just like Carla said, I think, the whole student thing, I think that's come up to, we just we're just figuring out as we go along, and what we listen to what people need. And again, if we had 4 students want to volunteer, is that a student group? I don't know.
There's a lot of that going on. Yeah. Where you have, like Tasha said,
students go through something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you have people coming on and saying, I want to do this, but then you find out the why and why they want to do this and where they actually fit. And when I say fit, I don't want that to mean that this is the only place they can actually help, but it's actually where they're going to thrive, where they're actually going to serve the best for themselves and for the group and everybody else. So I think that's one of the biggest things, is trying to find out how we can actually help the volunteer feel like they give as much as what they want to receive, if you will.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you said, giving back. If someone that we helped wants to come and help, that's the biggest compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you guys are obviously still growing in so many sense. The support staff has just started in 2019, late 2019. So it is still evolving. So
during a pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is the ultimate on-the-job training.
It absolutely.
And Kelly kind of just like, so.
Yeah, she was like,
we were like, we need you to do it. Well, her like Carla will show you what to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, who knows where you guys will be truly in
well, this has given me an idea.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Idea.
Good.
Yeah,
I know.
Everybody's been different. Kelly, to any other volunteer, just example for anonymous posts. It's like everybody. I don't train everybody the same way. They're the same rules, but also I want to know what everybody's strengths are. And that's the fun thing for me, when I can sit there and say, well, AP moderator so and so, you're great at this, and everybody's great. But then you start learning everybody's strengths, and it just makes an amazing team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, imagine a conversation with a CTP, an anonymous posting. I think there's some good conversations happening there. Yeah.
And free.
And sometimes they don't even want to post after talking to her. They're like, I'm good.
Absolutely.
But we all learn from each other. I mean, I, as a CSR, I learned so much about behind the scenes and what goes into the stuff that I don't, like, they're having conversations and it's running circles around me. I'm like, I have no idea what these acronyms mean. I'm Googling as they're talking. But I learned so much. And then I also get to bring in the CSR perspective and, well, what about this? And how does this going to apply to the front of house and what we're doing up there and the client focus?
I love
And
that. We
Yeah,
forget about
that's
that
true.
all the time.
we are amongst ourselves negotiating the confusion or the misinterpretations that may happen before we bring it out to the rest of the group. And it's really wonderful to be with a group right now of all women who are demonstrating exactly what we want to see happening in the industry. My greatest gift from being part of this is just the knowledge I am getting back. I mean, it's wonderful to sit with someone for half an hour, messaging back and forth and learning about them, but the overall gain from learning from this wealth of knowledge is amazing.
Yeah. No, it's great. And, you know, some of the conversations, even just within a practice of having staff meetings and stuff like that, and we forget a lot of times about our CSRs, where we have our doctors and our technicians collaborating with each other, and we talk about, you know, technicians advocating for our patients. And we don't really consider, like, maybe our CSRs are more of the advocates for our clients, and not necessarily as a thing where they need to, you know, say, oh, well, you know, our clients need to have X, Y, and Z, but more on the lines of saying, well, what do you think the client's going to think about X, Y, and Z? Or, you know, like maybe they'll interpret it this way or that way or whatnot, because you guys have a lot of time with the clients too, and you have a relationship with the clients because you're the first ones to see them, you talk to them, stuff like that. So that's a great way of having that collaboration and having more of that team approach, and that's missed a lot in that culture aspect.
Your CSR can save you 10 minutes of a phone conversation.
Oh, totally.
I've always said in my career that I would not be able to do my job, especially in oncology, without the CSRs. Bottom line, I would not be able to do my job.
Yeah.
It's a group effort.
Yeah. And you know, I really feel that we miss out a lot on our CSRs and their perspective and their creativity and collaboration and stuff. So I love that you said that you learned so much from their aspect and Google things and stuff, but I love too that you are jumping in and giving them your perspective too, where we really need to, on our end from the back, ask for it as well. So
yeah, if you can help us understand different medications, go find a brand new CSR and explain to them what Serenia is used for. Explain to them how a client can give Panicur 5 different ways. You will save yourself 10 minutes a day because your CSR is now empowered to give some really basic information, which helps your patient care. You know, it's serious. These are things I had to learn along the way. Or how important is heartworm preventative? Your CSR can do that in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And if they're not completely understanding it, at least the basics have now been covered and you can get into the nitty gritty that we're not allowed to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And you guys are working so well together though. Yeah. And you're not so divided, you know, that the division within the practice and an aspect of things, it's just been there for decades. Like that's the thing that gets me. It's been there forever. And it's like, when is that going to end? Like we have to break that up at some point. So
that's the culture part where we need to change the culture that everybody's part of the team.
There's that word again.
Yep.
Yeah. And
culture doesn't always mean a petri dish.
Well, yeah, that's a good one.
There you go. Another one.
It's like using the words, the front, the back.
Yeah.
Trying to get rid of those words.
Right.
Trying to basically just, you know.
Everyone's going to have to work in the same room. That's what we're going to do.
just trying to be
Absolutely.
supportive. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, let's see. What should we should wrap this baby up with a bow and yeah, call it a day.
This has been great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I'm gonna give Kelly her last relaxation technique so we can all go to bed nicely tonight, even though Carla has 2 extra hours on us.
Just 3.
Oh yeah, right. Well,
3 hours.
she has 2 on me.
2
So
on you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So 3 on you
Sorry,
guys.
guys.
Yeah.
So Kelly, what are we up against this time?
So we're going to do a sensory. We're going to use all of our 5 senses. And I'm going to start with identify one smell around you. And it may be a neutral one, but identify the smell in the space you're at. Now identify a taste. It might be the coffee you just drank or something you just nibbled on. Identify a taste in your mouth. What is one thing you're hearing right now? What is something you see? 3 things you can feel. So for me, it's a very neutral scent, although I'm smelling a little bit of my dog who needs a bath. I've been drinking a soda, so I'm tasting that in my mouth. I'm seeing all of you. I'm hearing a buzz from a lamp that's nearby. I'm feeling my chair. I'm feeling my spine trying to sit straight. And I'm feeling my armrests. And I know everybody's like,
I know, we're like
Posture.
And even if you do each of these 5 senses just once before you walk in or before you walk out or in your car, just to ground, here is where I am right now. Keep my mind from thinking about, oh, I messed this up or I should have done that. No, I am here. I am right now.
mm-hmm.
And I want to offer one other thing that I have mentioned on the page a number of times. Get a small notebook to keep in your car. And when you've had a bad day, a good day, write in that notebook. All good things, everything that you did absolutely right, you're proud of, is in the front of that book. Anything you feel like you messed up, you're right in the back. And when the back part gets full, rip it out and destroy it. Shred it, burn it, soak it in water, whatever you need to do to destroy it. Those are not the lasting things. The lasting things are the stuff in the front, and refer to the front as often as needed. But keep that in your car so that when you leave, all that you have experienced is now down on paper and you can do your best to let it go.
I love it. Heard it. I heard it.
I
Very
know.
much.
Right?
I like that. That was really good.
Print.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
We're so doing panels on conferences. That's my idea. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
This is
no, I love it.
amazing.
Yeah,
Can you
I love
imagine
it.
a NOMVSS panel?
Be great.
Beth
I
brought it
also
together.
I also think that you should do relaxation like things in like the morning. Like maybe you should do like a painting exercise in the morning. So like a Zoom. Yeah, that's would be fun.
Yeah.
So
Calm
Tasha,
and Headspace offer free 2-week trials.
yeah.
Take your 10-minute break, sit in your car, and do a 10-minute meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Do that
Yeah,
for
I have
2
Headspace.
weeks. You will notice the difference.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I luckily I have a teacher account, so I will full disclosure say that I've fit for free, which I take full advantage of. So,
Yeah, we have it as a benefit with
Awesome.
our program.
yeah. Yeah. And you know, that might be something to bring up to even your hospital to see if they would pay for it as a benefit.
Calm or Headspace. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Both
I
of them
mean,
have corporate sponsorship things that they can do. If not, there are plenty of YouTube videos that you can get for
oh yeah.
10 minutes. Sit in your car, take your darn break,
Yep.
and restore yourself on something that is not your meal. It is just for you to close your eyes and breathe and nothing else.
And
I
not
promise-
social media.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Oh,
promise.
yeah.
Unless it's to come to for support.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
In
And if it's nice
huge
outside,
humongous
just be
difference.
outside. Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's great. That's
I'm so passionate about this. I promise.
yeah.
Yay.
No, that's really good. These are great. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. If it's nice outside, be outside. Get your sun in. I mean, right now, obviously, I mean, I'm in Chicago, so it's just awful. Carla, she's like,
Carla's like, oh,
I don't even know what you're talking about with cold and snow and all that, but
I'm
yeah.
not going to cry over 59 degrees.
oh, it's
Yeah,
gonna be 60 here next week. I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, take advantage of sun and be outside. And you're absolutely right. Take your breaks when you need it. Show empathy to others who need those breaks. Even if they just look like they're having like a bad case, just say like, take your 5 minute, take 5 minutes. Though that next patient can wait 5 minutes. Like what's 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes.
That's the nice thing I want to say. Your 100% is not someone else's 100%. Stop comparing.
Yeah.
Please stop comparing. Just because you can do it does not mean someone else can.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's
Oh,
okay.
absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm off my soapbox now.
No, and you're absolutely right. And I mean, I've been totally in that realm of things where I felt like I had to do it all, and whatever. And it catches up with you, so you're absolutely right. You keep going.
The
Keep
things
going,
we would
Carla.
tell our younger selves.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I actually was thinking about that the other day. Like I mentioned this earlier. Like if you're a technician, the first thing you want to buy is your own stethoscope, right? A really nice fancy Littman 3 cardio.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kind of want as NOMB to be, or NOMVSS for us. I want a new tech, a baby tech, an older tech, whatever you are. When you're tired, when you've had a bad day, you carry your stethoscope, your pen light, your scissors. They're part of you. I would love for people to think, you know what? I'm going to go to NOMVSS because that's part of my toolbox. That's
Mhm.
part of my, this is something I can use to get myself into the day or out of the day.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be because you're having a bad day. You can go and basically say, hey, you know what? I've got a surgery today. I need some good vibes. And you're going to get those good vibes.
Yeah.
You're
It's
going to
your
get that
check-in.
support. I mean, it's great to be your own hero, but it's better when you have 3,000 people behind you.
Yeah. And you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of other people and
Exactly.
animals. And that's the one
Exactly.
thing. It's been the opposite for so long. We have to flip it.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's great advice, honestly, Carla. And I don't know, it just becomes habit with me even now, is that there are certain things that I check in with every morning, and you guys are one of them. And
Mhm.
then I have my VTNE Prep people that I must check in with as well, which is extremely demanding, as you guys know, just with like Not One More Vet. And so yeah, it's the same thing where I feel like you just are kind of there and wanting to support everyone that you can, and it's part of your daily routine as a technician. So if we can all get into this routine of helping others, just like you put on your stethoscope and your scrubs and getting ready for work, we're going to be able to support one another and be a better industry altogether. So I think that's great advice. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So fantastic. Thank you guys so much for joining me today and sharing such great stories and great advice. And I'm so thankful that you guys are out there to help everyone. There's so many people out there to help. And so thank you for dedicating so much time and everything to everybody. And I'll keep referring more to you, so don't worry. But yeah, I can't wait for more things from you guys and to join. And just like Race Around the World, I just loved it. And more things. So conferences, I'll wait for my painting picture that we'll be able to do with you, Tasha.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
No, you don't want it. You don't want mine. No. But yeah, so
That's why you get paint by numbers. You could just.
Oh yeah, yeah, we could do that.
They're tiny, but
yeah, I could probably do that. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all of your time and everything today. So
thank you for having us, inviting us. It's been a real pleasure, and I get to see, you know, Kelly and Carla, who we don't see each other except through Facebook. So
through Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but besides time to help the group or other things, we're trying to do some more happy hours and things like that. But you know how difficult it is, different time zones. But thank you so much for having us.
Of course, of course.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys again. And I hopefully will be talking to you guys soon. And I'll look forward to seeing more webinars and everything. So take care, guys. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.